Hey, what's going on, everybody? Elliott here, sharing with you all my spoiler-free review for season 3 of Daredevil. This season was I'm just gonna tell you up front, this season was great, guys. This is probably my favorite season of Daredevil. But in this review, guys, I'm just gonna recap a couple things, some things I enjoyed, some things I didn't enjoy, give you my overall thoughts, let you know if it's worth streaming. As you can probably tell, I'm gonna recommend checking it out. But again, this is no spoilers, so I'm just gonna give you a quick kind of my thoughts on what I thought of season 3 of Daredevil.
Darkness only responds to darkness. And the truth is, I'd rather die as the devil than live as Matt Murdock.
Alrighty, guys, so if this is your first time tuning in to Movie Files, thank you for clicking on this video. Definitely do us a favor, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all of our new movie reviews, TV reviews, trailer reactions, and we do unboxing videos. So definitely make sure to stay up to date with all of that content. So with that, guys, let's touch a little bit on my positives about season 3 of Daredevil. So first and foremost, this is the best character-driven series in regards to the Netflix series. You know, we have Luke Cage, we had Luke Cage, we had Iron Fist, but Jessica Jones, and the Defenders, all that stuff. This season of Daredevil, and even season 1 and 2 of Daredevil, this dove so deep into Matt Murdock, the actual man behind the mask, a couple of the secondary characters. This was such a well-written show. The dialogue was on point. Definitely, I can just go on and on about this, the writing and everything, but that was definitely something that stood out to me when I was done watching the series, is how well written the series was and how many great character arcs we got. And even for some characters, which I'm going to talk about in my negatives, but there were some characters that I just wasn't too fond of and wasn't really invested in the stories, but by the end of the season, I was on board with what happened to them. So definitely some well-written dialogue, some well-written scenes, and also, too, the action in this season was so great. And I won't get into too specifics as far as we get a scene that might rival the hallway scene in season 1. It's some great stuff that happens there. But really, too, just kind of breaking down what I really enjoyed about these moments. Again, Matt Murdock is such a complex character in the comic books, and they really have done a great job of just showing the battle that he has day in and day out, being Matt Murdock, being a lawyer a day and then being a vigilante at night. And it really dove deep into Matt Murdock and the Daredevil, which I really appreciated. Because season 2, a phenomenal season, but let's be honest, it was really a season set up for not Daredevil, but the Punisher, which was great. But it really, we kind of missed out. We got Electro, we got the Hand. We really didn't dive deep into Daredevil as much as we did in season 1. And he definitely brought it around this time in season 3. Some other positives, I got to touch on these characters, man. I mean, number one, Matt Murdock was great as Matt Murdock and as Daredevil. I mean, the stuff that he goes through this season is just so phenomenal. He's battling both of these personas, and it's just so great how they kind of give us more and more into Daredevil, and I thought it was just so great. Karen Page, I'll say this, Karen and Foggy, I'm not gonna lie, when they're not involved in the main storyline, they have kind of like their side storylines. I wasn't that invested, but once they were into the actual meat of the season and what was going on, and obviously Fisk, which I'm going to get into, that's when I think they really shine. In particularly Karen, and I'm going to kind of I'm going to backtrack a little bit. She had kind of a one-off episode to a degree, and that was such a great episode. We learned, I don't want to get into the spoilers, but we learned a little bit more about Karen, and man, it's some mess up stuff. So I would definitely say Foggy and Karen sometimes aren't the most, especially Foggy, I'm not the most interested in a lot of his stuff, his family dynamics, the stuff with his girlfriend, Marcy, I believe her name was. But all in all, by the end of the season, I was on board with what happened with them. And honestly, Karen, if they do get a season 4, I don't know, Daredevil, you might have to look into Karen because she does some really interesting stuff. Anyway, guys, I thought that Foggy and Karen was some really pretty solid supporting cast, and I really kind of enjoyed their character arcs when they were involved in the main storyline. We get a new character in Poindexter, which I won't dive too deep into him, but man, does he have a complex background and such an interesting character arc, which I really enjoyed. And then I gotta, who else was there before I talk into my main point? I really can't think of any more. I mean, we get a couple, Detective Nadine. Boy, was I not invested in his story. I just did not. I kind of saw where it was going, why they were doing what they did in the first half, but I just wasn't feeling it. Nothing against the actor or anything of that nature, but it was just, I wasn't invested in the storyline, and the way he was kind of playing it just wasn't the greatest. But by the end of the season, man, does he have a character arc and some moments that happened that really kind of redeemed him, for me at least. But really, guys, again, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, great. It's his show. I love everything he had to do in this season. His fight scenes, his dialogue, everything was great. But Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. Kingpin as we know him in the comic books, Vincent D'Onofrio, has to be the best villain in the MCU. I mean, sure, you have Thanos, you have Eric Killmonger, you have Hela. In the TV series, he's by far the best. But I mean, yeah, if we match him up to the 2-hour villain that we get in one movie so far with Thanos and Hela and Eric Killmonger, obviously we got more time with Wilson and finding out about his character and his background. But man, this season he really shows you why he's who he is. I mean, the complexity of the character and the darkness and the wits and everything that he has, his hands involved, everything he touches is just this rot. So I mean, I don't want to get too deep into his moments in this season, guys. But this was my favorite season of Wilson Fisk, and also my favorite season of Daredevil. I'm just going to say it now, and I'm going to touch about that on my final thoughts. But man, Wilson Fisk, man, was such a great character this season. I can't talk more about Vincent D'Onofrio without getting into spoilers, but he was just menacing, dark, and just brutal this season. I just loved it. On to some negatives. Again, I touched on it a little bit. Some of the supporting characters when they're not really involved in the main story. I really wasn't Foggy and his parents and that whole ordeal, and Karen and her, reporting stuff and trying to figure out stuff. Again, it all tied into the season, but it just didn't fit too well for me and kind of what they were doing. But once they were involved in the main storyline, which was Wilson Fisk and all that stuff, I really enjoyed them. So it wasn't. There were some negative aspects in it, first 3 episodes, but then it got a lot better. Also, I'm backtracking. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, guys, but Sister Maggie was such a great character too, and we learned some stuff about her. But she was great. Her and her back and forth with Matt was great. So I wanted to make sure I pointed her out. She was phenomenal. But going back to my negatives, I brought it up. Detective Nadine. I wasn't really vibing with his storyline at the beginning, but again, it kind of paid off. I will say, and this is something that has been a negative on Netflix, was the 13 episodes. The 13 episodes was fine. This time around, I felt like it was worth watching 13 hours worth of TV. I will say, and it's not a spoiler, but the last episode didn't really, I don't know what else they could have done differently, but the way it ended just didn't sit well with me. But again, overall, 12 episodes. Really, to me, if I were to go back to some positives, I would say from episode 4 on to episode 11 was some of the best television I've seen this year. The choreography and the fighting, the dialogue, the character moments, the surprises we get were so great. But again, episode 12 was kind of wrapped up some things, and then 13, again, I don't think it was a filler or just fluff. It had its moments. It closed a lot of doors, but I didn't like the way it ended, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. But honestly, guys, there's really not too many negatives. The first 3 episodes were kind of a slow burn so we get things going. But all in all, this is a 10 out of 10. Again, these are those minor things I pointed out didn't really affect my overall feelings about season 3. I thought this was the best season of Daredevil. This is the best series in regards to MCU on Netflix, the best MCU television series, and just such a great TV show just in general. Netflix has done it again with Daredevil. Obviously, we lost Iron Fist. We lost Luke Cage, which is unfortunate. But I think if we get a season 4 of Daredevil, I can't wait. If we don't, I think that they wrapped up things pretty much, and you can kind of assume where things are headed. If they don't, but they kind of leave the door open for season 4, obviously. But again, this was such a well-written show. The dialogue was great. The action was great. The surprises. Again, I'm familiar with Daredevil, some of the comic runs, but I didn't know everything that we were going to get this season. They really broke down Matt Murdock and Daredevil and his arc, to the end of the season was just great. Again, Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. Kingpin, was phenomenal. The one-off that we get with Karen was great. Detective Nadine was redeeming. Poindexter was great. I mean, this was, I can't say it enough, guys. I don't want to keep going on and on. This is such a great season. I can't recommend it enough. And let me know in the comments, guys, once you've seen it or if you've seen it, without giving too much away, let me know what you guys thought of season 3. And as always, definitely check out our movie reviews, our other TV reviews as we did one for the Haunting of Hill House, so check that out. And as always, stay up to date with all of our latest content by hitting that notification bell. And I appreciate you guys watching. I'm just blabbing at this point, guys. But thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.